Italy seems to be the worst-hit country in Europe, with the coronavirus appearing to spiral out of control. So, why Italy and the Italians? The first thing to do is to subscribe to the Expat Essentials for Italy YouTube channel, and then click the bell icon to avoid missing out on important news and further videos on life in Italy. And feel free to share the video and link, too. Plus, if you watch the video to the very end, you'll be able to gain access to a special guide that could make your introduction to La Dolce Vita even sweeter. As an aside, if you want to create videos like this, continue watching the video to the very end, where you'll be directed to another bonus. Here's an extract from a recent article on pharmaceuticaltechnology.com, suggesting why Italy and the Italians appear to be the worst-hit country in Europe. The link to the full article is in the description box below this video. Why coronavirus cases in Italy are high. The high number of coronavirus infection cases in Italy may be explained by the expanding air travel with China. Italy is the European nation with the highest number of air routes with China after the air links between the two countries tripled earlier this year. Italy signed a Memorandum of Understanding with China in early January 2020 to expand the air links between the two countries, in order to expand tourism. The weekly passenger flights to China were announced to be increased by 108, and by a further 56, through 2021 and 2022. Consequently, the Italian government imposed strong measures in the northern regions, but not in the rest of the country. Underestimating how far the coronavirus could reach in the absence of wider measures is evident in the cases recorded. Okay, so there could be some merit to the report, indicating that an exposure to more Chinese nationals is the reason for the outbreak in Italy. Well, that report doesn't reflect too well on the people of China, does it? That, to most people, is very unfair, even if it can be proved that the virus originated from there. In fact, the way the Chinese have dealt with the outbreak is seen by some as being well ahead of how most, if not all countries in Europe, are dealing with the situation. In addition, and what is a worrying sign, Italy did not get the support of the European Union when they asked for help at the outbreak of the virus in the country. However, Italy did and continues to receive help from a source that puts the EU to shame, and that source is China. Here's an extract of a report in FP News, entitled, "The EU is abandoning Italy in its hour of need." Close to midnight on March 12, a Chinese aircraft landed in Rome carrying 9 medical experts and 31 tons of medical supplies, including intensive care unit equipment, medical protective equipment, and antiviral drugs. Around the same time, a Chinese truck arrived in Italy bringing more than 230 boxes of medical equipment. The link to the full article is in the description box below this video. A question to ask at some stage, though, is how the Chinese are going to implement steps to ensure something like this doesn't happen again. Based on how China has dealt with the virus issue so far, and its help provided to Italy in its hour of need, it's very likely that China already has measures in place that puts the rest of the world to shame. When you read of reports that suggest the virus originated from a snake and a bat, cross-infecting one another, then in a country with such diverse wildlife, and a lifestyle where such wildlife are treated as culinary delicacies, the World Health Organization have a more pressing and proactive role to play, because the reality is, as we've experienced over the last 20 years or so, that viruses such as bird flu, SARS, Ebola and the like are no longer isolated cases. Coupled with the fact that personal hygiene is not taken as seriously as it should be, think of the diseases you can pick up in local hospitals now, and the fact that hand sanitizers are now being recommended, then people are either too lazy to wash their hands before they eat, for example, or their bodies have become less resistant to germs, owing to poor diets and a lack of exercise. Consider this report I received from a good friend, living in the Philippines, whose city is now in a state of lockdown for the next 30 days, on how they're coping with the virus. Now, bear in mind that the Philippines are regarded as a third world country. Thankfully, the government here isn't leaving things to chance. They also have neighborhood leaders checking on every single family, paying special attention to the elderly, pregnant women and children under 10. Where else is this being implemented? And guess which country is offering testing kits, medical supplies and personnel? It's China. But this is where I think the media in Italy and the rest of Europe are helping to whip up hysteria, when there is absolutely no need to, and here are 6 reasons why. 1. The virus is a respiratory problem, so the most vulnerable are the elderly. Where are the reports highlighting that Italy has one of the highest aging populations in the world? 2. The worst hit area is in northern Italy. Northern Italy is experiencing one of its most damp winters on record. Do you recall the flooding of Venice, for example, this winter, and most cases of influenza and colds occur in winter. How many people die each year from influenza and influenza-related illnesses, including pneumonia? I don't see that being reported anywhere, as that will help put the impact of the coronavirus into some perspective. 3. Italy, along with other southern Mediterranean countries, have the most healthiest diets, such as the Mediterranean diet, in the world, so why is Italy affected so badly? This is counterintuitive, because as Italians have a high aging population, due to the relatively better health from their lifestyle of eating fresh and seasonal food and daily exercise, the older population are still vulnerable to respiratory problems, as referred to in 1 above. 4. The Italians are probably the most affectionate people in the world, so the kisses on the cheeks and the hugging are more common and widespread than in, say, the UK. 5. Italians are, generally, excitable, and so the number of deaths being recorded could be freaking them out, to the extent that the Italian media are overplaying the drama, putting the fear of God into its own citizens. 6. Italy is the home of Roman Catholicism, and so religion is at the heart of daily life for Italians. Religious beliefs are still strong in Italy, and are passed down from generation to generation, so any information put out by the media could be heightening ancient religious beliefs, to a level never seen before in the modern age. Now, the other thing you have to bear in mind is that Italy has a health and medical system that's probably one of the best in the world, so it's possible that they're ahead of the curve in terms of detecting the virus, than most other countries. When you consider the help they're now getting from China, as mentioned earlier, this makes it more likely that Italy is way ahead of its EU partners. Italy may be struggling to cope than most, but they're more likely to come through this stronger than most. For example, Greece appears to have a very low incidence of coronavirus cases at the moment, so why could that be? To find out the possible reasons, tune into the second video in this series, which will be uploaded very shortly, by ensuring you subscribe to the Expat Essentials for Italy channel, and then click the grey bell icon to be notified of it, and all other future videos being uploaded. And as promised, don't forget to access your free special report, entitled, You Can Start a Brand New Life in Italy, which is jam-packed full of helpful information, and can be accessed by clicking on the URL link in the description box below this video. Enjoy! Finally, if you want to create videos like this, check out the bonus in the description box below this video. We hope you've enjoyed this video, and found the content to be helpful and of value. Plus, feel free to leave a positive comment below if you'd like to share your own experiences or suggestions. Thanks for watching. Until next time, ciao for now.